April 26, 2024, 97 tornadoes touched down in a single day across Nebraska, Kansas, and Oklahoma. I'm about to show you a setup for Tuesday and Wednesday that the models are building to look remarkably similar. And I want to be honest with you up front, I genuinely hope I am wrong about what I am seeing right now. Because if the models verify, this is the worst severe weather stretch the central United States has seen since that April. This forecast is not a guarantee, it is a probability, and that probability is high enough to act on right now. Stay with me because at the 9-minute mark, I will show you the one ingredient that makes Tuesday so dangerous. At the very end, I have something to say about the West Coast heat that has nothing to do with models. Let me start with today, Monday, June 8th, because today is the setup day for everything that follows this week. Today is the lowest end severe weather day of the week, and even today carries real dangers for specific communities. Northeast Colorado, southeast Wyoming, and the Nebraska Panhandle, heads up, you're inside the slight risk zone today. A 5% tornado risk sits just northeast of Denver, where discrete supercells will fire between 4 and 7 this evening. Fort Morgan, Sterling, and Lyman, Colorado, you're in that corridor and storms there can produce large hail quickly. The wind threat in that region is significant too, with 75-mile-per-hour gusts possible in the strongest storm cores. Down in the mid-Mississippi Valley, a separate flash flood threat is unfolding right now, and it is serious. Slow steering winds today means storms barely move. They dump 2 to 3 inches per hour on the same neighborhoods. Memphis, Paducah, Evansville, and the Tennessee Valley. The flash flood risk for you runs through tonight's overnight hours. Dorothy is a retired teacher in Omaha who told me she already moved her car to higher ground this morning. Dorothy, that instinct is exactly right by tonight. Storms near Kansas City and Springfield will still be churning. Step outside right now if you are in eastern Colorado or Wyoming and tell me in the comments what you see building. Those real-time reports from people on the ground help me give everyone watching a sharper and more accurate picture. Before I go deeper on the plains, let me jump west because the heat story building there is being undercovered today. A massive mid-level ridge is consolidating along the west coast and temperatures are climbing fast right now. Sacramento Valley is tracking toward 100 degrees today and will reach 105 by Wednesday afternoon. Portland, Oregon will approach 90 degrees Wednesday, about 18 degrees above what early June normally delivers there. Most homes in the Pacific Northwest have no air conditioning, and buildings accumulate heat day over day without relief. The 2021 Pacific Northwest heat dome killed 800 people in 4 days, nearly all from indoor heat exposure. Tuesday and Wednesday are the days I am watching most closely for heat health emergencies in that region. Harold is a retired electrician in Sacramento who told me the grid in his neighborhood showed strain last summer. Harold, when Sacramento hits 105 degrees Wednesday, demand on the grid will exceed what most infrastructure was designed for. Now I want to show you something about Tuesday that made me stop and look twice at the models this morning. Here's the ingredient I promised you, the low-level jet that fires across the Dakotas Tuesday nights. The low-level jet is a river of fast wind between 1,000 and 3,000 feet above the surface that activates after sunset. Tuesday night, the jet runs at 50 to 60 knots across the Dakotas near hurricane force at low altitude. That speed cranks wind shear, feeds moisture northward rapidly, and gives any supercell the rotation it needs for tornadoes. The SPC has an enhanced risk, level 3 out of 5, posted for North Dakota, South Dakota, and northwest Minnesota. They have explicitly set a moderate risk upgrade, level 4 out of 5, is on the table if storm evolution trends upward. A 10% hatch tornado risk sits over Bismarck, Minot, and as far east as Grand Forks and the Fargo corridor. Hatched means EF2 or stronger tornado is possible, not a background risk, a direct community-level threat. There is also a 45% probability of significant hail exceeding 2 inches in diameter near Bismarck and Jamestown. Baseball-sized hail at 45% probability destroys roofing, siding, and unprotected vehicles in minutes. 2 separate squall lines are expected Tuesday, plain and simple, one capable of 60 to 85 mile-per-hour winds overnight. Frank ranches outside Bismarck and told me Tuesday is the day he has been dreading since last week's model runs. Frank, your instinct is right. Tuesday between 3 and 9 in the afternoon is the window that deserves your full attention. If you live in the Tuesday corridor from Bismarck through Fargo to Aberdeen, what is your shelter plan right now? Tell me in the comments if your shelter plan has a gap. I want to help you close it before Tuesday. Wednesday, June 10th is the day that sits at the back of my mind more than any other day this week. Wednesday is not a repeat of Tuesday. Wednesday is what Tuesday was building toward in terms of population exposure. The SPC enhanced risk on Wednesday now includes Minneapolis near Des Moines, northwest Illinois, and almost all of Wisconsin. For the first time in this outbreak, Chicago and Milwaukee are inside the slight risk that was not the case yesterday. Kansas City is also included, along with a marginal risk covering most of Michigan back into central Kansas. The European model shows a 994 millibar low tracking across the upper Midwest Wednesday, an unusually strong June low. A negatively tilted trough amplifies wind shear across the region, adding rotation to every storm updraft that afternoon. Significant tornado parameter values on Wednesday are elevated across essentially all of Minnesota, Iowa, and Wisconsin. Supercells will fire near Wausau and north of Minneapolis in early afternoon, capable of all hazards of severe weather. If any storm stays discrete long enough, a long-track tornado is not out of the question for central Wisconsin. By 6 to 7 Wednesday evening, storms begin upscaling and the squall line wind threat becomes dominant overnight. The atmospheric signature on Wednesday most closely resembles two historical events I want you to understand. The April 2024 outbreak I opened with produced 97 tornadoes. The June 2010 derecho swept Ohio overnight in 6 hours. That June 2010 event killed 7 people, knocked out power to 1 million homes, and caused $1.7 billion in damage. Wednesday shares the same negatively tilted trough and the same low-level jet structure as both of those events. I am not saying Wednesday equals those days. I am saying the atmosphere is building the same ingredients right now. Thursday, June 11th brings a brand new storm system out of the Rockies and reloads the severe weather threat entirely. The SPC already has an enhanced risk posted for Thursday covering Chicago, Milwaukee, and down towards St. Louis. Good Lord, a surface-based low with very strong low-level winds creates an enhanced tornado threat across the Midwest Thursday. Combined metro populations of Chicago, Milwaukee, and St. Louis exceed 12 million people inside that corridor. Supercells will fire from Milwaukee through Appleton, Peoria, and Quincy as early as 2 in the afternoon Thursday. Thursday's storms will likely not end until early Friday morning. This is a long-duration overnight severe weather event. Phyllis is a retired nurse in Chicago who lived through the 1990 Plainfield tornado and 3 major derechos since. Phyllis told her grandchildren to be in solid shelter before noon Thursday, not after the sirens. Now let me show you the bigger picture, because what happens after Thursday is genuinely unusual for mid-June. After Thursday's outbreak, the models show something forecasters are describing as a rare shift in the June pattern. A deep trough will dig unusually far south across the central United States between June 14th and June 21st. Temperatures across the Midwest will run 10 to 15 degrees below normal for a 7-day stretch in mid-June. Chicago could see highs in the low 60s, Minneapolis near 58 degrees in the 3rd week of June. That is extraordinary. The European ensemble has trended even deeper and colder on this trough with each successive run over the past 3 days. Mark my words, run to run, model consistency deepening in the same direction is not noise. It is a committed pattern. The Climate Prediction Center shows high confidence for below-average temperatures across the central United States. What this cooldown means, the severe weather threat reorganizes southward toward the plains and Gulf states after Thursday. Let me also address the flooding picture because it is running parallel to the severe weather all week long. Right now, we have a moderate risk of flash flooding across the mid-Mississippi, something not seen in several weeks. Slow-moving storms today and tomorrow will pile 2 to 4 inches in communities that cannot absorb more water. As the front pushes east by Thursday and Friday, the flash flood risk moves into the mid-Atlantic and Appalachians. Pittsburgh, West Virginia, and Western Virginia face rising flash flood risk as the front drapes across the mountains. Turn around and do not drown applies to every one of these corridors every afternoon and evening through the weekend. Let me be direct on the tropics. There is a Gulf signal worth watching, but not worth losing sleep over yet. The Central American gyre is spinning up energy in the Bay of Campeche that could develop into a broad Gulf low. The European and GFS now agree this stays disorganized, but heavy moisture will surge into the Gulf Coast after June 14th. Gulf Coast and Southeast residents, watch the mid-June window daily and have your emergency kit reviewed as a precaution. Before the bottom line, let me give you something truly good because it is real and it is coming this weekend. Behind Thursday's system, Canadian air drops temperatures to the mid-60s across the Midwest by Saturday, June 14th. After one of the most intense severe weather weeks since April, that Saturday will feel like the atmosphere hitting reset. Honest to goodness, Chicago, Minneapolis, and Detroit get low humidity and clear skies for 5 consecutive days after Thursday. Here's your direct action list, one specific item for every region watching right now today. Colorado and Wyoming storms fire on the Palmer Divide after 4. Shelter your vehicles from golf ball hail by 3. Mid-Mississippi and Tennessee Valley slow-moving storms mean flash flooding today. Stay off low-water crossings through tonight. Pacific Northwest, Tuesday and Wednesday, find air-conditioned shelter before Tuesday evening. Check on elderly neighbors today. Northern Plains, Tuesday, the cap breaks between 3 and 6. Enhanced risk fires know your shelter before noon. Minnesota, Wisconsin, Iowa, Wednesday, long-track tornado possible. Move outdoor plans inside, no exceptions at all. Chicago, Milwaukee, St. Louis, Thursday enhanced risk. 12 million people in corridor. Utility crews are pre-positioning now. Gulf Coast, the mid-June moisture window opens around June 14th. Review your emergency kit this week, not next week. The cool down after Thursday is real. It is unusual for mid-June, and it is truly earned after this week. If someone you care about is in the Northern Plains or Midwest this week, reach out to them today. Let me explain exactly why the significant tornado parameter matters so much for Wednesday's outlook. STP values of 2 or higher indicate an environment favorable for significant EF2 plus tornadoes on the ground. Wednesday's models are showing STP values of 3 to 5 across Minnesota, Wisconsin, and Iowa well above that threshold. The reason STP values are elevated is dew points in the mid-70s across the Twin Cities corridor Wednesday afternoon. Dew points in the mid-70s in June combined with 5,000 joules of instability is a meteorologist's definition of loaded. Let me go deeper on Thursday because the new low pressure out of the Rockies changes the character of the threats. This is a surface-based low at 985 millibars energy close to the ground where tornadoes live, not elevated. Surface-based lows with strong low-level wind shear produce the tornadic environments that keep forecasters up at night. Friday brings the trailing cold front to Pittsburgh, West Virginia, and western Pennsylvania with wind and hail possible. By Friday evening, the front exits the northeast and a genuine break begins the first clean air since last weekend. Let me connect the rainfall picture to something every American should understand about this week's storms. Iowa, Illinois, and Indiana cornfields are at a critical growth stage where soil moisture in June determines July yields. 2 to 4 inches of rainfall from Monday through Wednesday would be the best news of the summer for those crops. The drought signal that was building across the Missouri and Mississippi valleys gets erased by this week's storms. Ironically, the storms doing the most damage above ground may also be delivering the most critical relief below ground. One more thing worth mentioning today, the G3 geomagnetic storm is still active and aurora may be visible again tonight. If your skies are clear in Minnesota, Wisconsin, Michigan, or upstate New York, look north after 10 o'clock tonight. The last time a G3 storm and a major severe weather outbreak ran together was spring 2024, not a normal week. Let me put the entire week in atmospheric context because this pattern is truly unusual for early June. The MJO Phase 8 and negatively tilted trough combination driving this week last appeared together in April 2024. April 2024 produced that 97 tornado day I opened with the same 2 ingredients, the same time of year. 14 months later, we are not in a normal June. The atmosphere is running an April script, and that is why this week demands respect. Here is the bottom line I want to leave you with, and it ties directly back to April 26, 2024. 97 tornadoes in one day, 800 deaths from heat in 2021, 105 degrees Wednesday. Those 3 numbers are not predictions, they are historical facts about what this atmospheric recipe has already produced. The same recipe is assembling right now across the Northern Plains, the Midwest, and the Pacific Northwest simultaneously. Dorothy moved her car, Harold is watching the grid, Frank has been dreading Tuesday since last week's model runs. Phyllis told her grandchildren to be in shelter before noon Thursday, the same lesson 800 people never got in 2021. Check in tonight in the comments and tell me your plan. I will read everyone and be back tomorrow morning. We will talk again tomorrow morning with a full Tuesday Outbreak update. Take care of the people near you.